So Qatar is gifting Donald Trump, not the United States of America, a $400 million plane.
The Qatari government has graciously offered to donate a plane to the Department of Defense. The legal details of that are still being worked out, but of course, any donation to this government is always done in full compliance with the law, and we commit ourselves to the utmost transparency, and we will continue to do that.
Do you worry that if they give us something like this, they want something in return?
Absolutely not, because they know President Trump, and they know he only works with the interests of the American public in mind.
The Qatar royal family's proposed gift of a $400 million luxury plane known as the Palace in the Sky to you-know-who has even some of his biggest supporters crying foul. But White House spokesperson Caroline Leavitt swears it's all completely legit.
Yes, I believe you just heard the press secretary. Libras are turning this into something else. At the end of this video, you are going to find out if this is legal or illegal. I've seen a lot of videos surfacing about this whole situation. I didn't want to report on this situation, but it is important I show you what exactly is going on.
So Qatar is gifting Donald Trump, not the United States of America, a $400 million plane. Actually, it's probably worth a lot more than $400 million. But that's what the base price of the plane is. It's considered a flying palace. Typically, Air Force One is actually a military plane, and the military aspects of it are the most important thing. But for Donald Trump, he wants to make sure that his plane is as ostentatious as fuck. Meanwhile, the Trump organization is building a $5.5 billion golf course in Qatar. There's nothing fishy about any of this at all, right? And when Donald Trump leaves office in 2028, he's already made plans that he can bring the plane with him because it's going to transfer to become owned by the Donald Trump Presidential Library. Now, his Department of Justice has told him that this is perfectly legal, which just gives me so much confidence in the integrity of the Department of Justice under Pam Bondi. This is a staggering level of grift and corruption, far surpassing anything we've ever seen in the history of our country. Even in Trump's first administration. They're not even trying to pretend to have ethics. It's all out in the open for anyone to see. When will the Republicans in Congress finally hold their president accountable?
Nice. It apparently needs some refurbishments, but I don't know why he needs a brand new luxury plane right now. But two things stood out to me. Both, yes, it's clearly a violation of ethics rules that are in place pure for the reason that you don't want.
Did you say ethics? Let's take a laugh at that.
Yeah. you don't want.
Yes, it is good to do research sometime. The legality of President Trump accepting a luxury Boeing 747 jet from Qatar, as reported recently, hinge on the U.S. Constitution's Foreign Emolument Clause, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8, which prohibits federal office holders from accepting any present. We all know that. When you take a look at this jet issue, Trump administration, along with the Department of Justice and Attorney General Pam Bondi, has argued that the arrangement is legally permissible. Their reasoning is that the plane is not a personal gift to Trump, but rather a donation to the U.S. government via the Department of Defense, which will then transfer it to the Trump Presidential Library after his term ends in January 2029. They claim this structure violated the Emolument Clause because the gift is not directly to Trump as an individual, and they assert it does not constitute bribery since it is not conditions on any official act. But Libras won't do research to see this. They will continue to spread this every single day.
6 years bitching about Hunter Biden.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Tracking him, and we paid for all of those things. And isn't this the same thing? Ooh, what was that?
I think it's worse.
Tell me. Wow.
You know, I'll just say this, and I think Alyssa has the same experience. When you work for the government, you take an oath under the Constitution to abide by the Constitution, and the emoluments clause of the Constitution
Please explain.
basically says that a donation from a foreign government, or really it's almost any donation,
Anybody.
it forbids U.S. officials from accepting gifts or other things of value from foreign officials without congressional approval. And in fact, the rules are, if you are working for the government, you cannot accept anything of value of over $20.
Yes.
$20 or less.
Yep. And
And you have to disclose it.
And you have to disclose it, even if
Even
it's
if
like
it's like
$19.99. You have to say, I got this $19.99 gift from Whoopi Goldberg. Can I just please put that down and write it down? So this is completely illegal. It's just illegal. Unprecedented.
I listen, I've been on Air Force One. It's super nice. It apparently needs some refurbishments, but I don't know why he needs a brand new luxury plane right now. But two things stood out to me. Both, yes, it's clearly a violation of ethics rules that are in place pure for the reason that you don't want.
Did you say ethics? Let's take a laugh at that.
You don't want government officials to be able to be bribed or feel indebted to people. It's also a huge national security risk. So you're going to have the Qatari government know all the ins and outs, security protocols, technology of the plane that houses the U.S. president. And I would remind people the Qataris are not our friends. They shelter Hamas, protect their money. They allow them to carry out their terrorist activities so that we would be kind of getting in bed with them in this way, just in so many ways.
That's the part that upset me the most, because beyond the obvious parts of the ethics and the Constitution, which are all inconvenient at this moment, but it's the fact that Qatar finances a lot of these. We have an active war going on right now in the Middle East. In fact, we wear these, Alyssa and I wear these pins because of the hostages that have not been returned by Hamas. And now only less than half of the 58 are even alive. It's just their bodies returned to their families. We are actively engaging in that right now. And a country who helps fund a lot of these terrorist organizations is giving you a plane. And I was always taught, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. I don't think you get a $400 million gift with expectation. Without expectation.
Without.
The part that bothers me the most is the hypocrisy, right? Look, these laws only mean something if there's somebody there to enforce them. We have oversight committees in Congress, but they are doing nothing to oversee the blatant conflicts of interest that Trump and his family are engaged in. And so the hypocritical Republicans in Congress who put Hunter Biden and everybody else, and who should, rightfully so, be scrutinizing these type of ethical questions, are just like, I don't know, out to lunch, out to pasture, playing their fiddle. I don't know what the hell they're doing, being a rubber stamp while this happens in front of their nose. And it is a reminder to the American people that if you want this to change, you want there to actually...
I have watched this video to this end to see if someone will rise up and say, oh, this plane is not for Trump, but for the US government. I've not seen any single person saying that. They just want to push a certain narrative, which to me is crazy. Currently, we have seen how the Biden administration was working with Qatari government in working out this to free some of these people for a very long time. I've seen these negotiations going on, Qatar being the center of doing that. Trump administration coming in to, I don't know why this is a problem. I understand they have their own bad things they have done, but looking at this, I want them to look at this whole situation like this plane is not given to Trump. It is for the US government. It is not Trump private property. These people will not see that. I understand that they are fond of this. When you take a look at Laura Loomer, this is a Trump supporter. She sent this tweet out. I love President Trump. Luma tweeted, I would take a bull for him, but I have to call a spade a spade. We cannot accept a 400 million gift from Jain Sood. The Qataris fund the same Iranian proxies in and Hezbollah who have taken the lives of U.S. service members. They sent proxies that have worked with the Mexican cartel to get jihadis across our border. This is really going to be such a stain on the administration if this is true. And I said that as someone who would take a bullet for Trump, I'm so disappointed. That is Laura Luma responding to Trump. I want to know your opinion on this whole situation. Please drop under the comment section so we can reason together. I'm always there to see what you have to say when things like this are arising. I want to appreciate you for constantly supporting me, sharing out my videos every single day. God bless you abundantly. If you see any clip after this, that is for the YouTube algorithm.
This is what he's announcing today. He has said that the reciprocal tariff, this is Scott Bessent who announced it, the reciprocal tariff on China, where we jacked ours up to 125 and then they jacked theirs up on us to 125 for all goods, is now going to 10%.
I could not sleep because I thought, oh my God, I told everybody everything.
Okay. And by the way,
if you notice, I don't make the videos too long. 10 minutes, 11 minutes, that is how I do.
starting back with certain slaves.
Justice will prevail.
It also shouldn't be racial.
Require Carmelo
0 to 100.
Has been overwhelming. The lies in their amplification.
This is not going to end. Right is right and wrong is wrong. All good.
If you see any clips after this, that is just for the YouTube algorithm.
What if he says self-defense?
There's no self-defense because kids in here and resolve this issue is called conflict resolution.
Again, the evidence is still coming in.
This is definitely a self-defense case because it always is one until you look at the facts of the case and compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor.
Bedroom, because she's fearful of what might happen to her.
Followers for anything, and then
Registration Act is
talking about this man kill.
My summary of the first 100 days is that
if film and TV productions continue to
First term, and you will be very.
Once again, the field was littered with Kardashians. Swoop, just invite them all, which is what Anna Wintour does every year. This Carmelo Anthony case, Michelle Obama, every day.
To live in the White House. Many people.
Luckily, the Puerto Ricans